Hello there, y'all. It's Trevor Davies the Awesomeness here. So, this is a different type of video that I compared to the videos I usually do on my channel. But now that all the DLC is out and the game is fully complete with all the content that it'll have, I decided why not kind of go through a ranking and kind of somewhat review of this game by ranking all 24 of the Grand Prix Cups. I decided in order to do this that I would give my own personal rating or score for each of the 96 courses in the game. I considered aspects such as the visuals and theming of the course, as well as the layout itself and how the obstacles are placed and do the obstacles fit in with the theming, as well as was there any missed potential or anything like that. So I considered all those aspects when personally giving each of the 96 tracks a score. With all that, I put together for all 24 cups. I was able to combine the scores so I combine all those scores, and I also used them not just for ranking the cups, but for scoring basically all the waves, the DLC, all the tracks, basically scoring this game's track selection as a whole. We will answer the question, how do all 24 cups rank based on my personal opinions? And based on my personal opinions, how good what is the score for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe as a whole, with if you're looking just at how its tracks are. Let's actually get on to this now. Starting out in last place, in 24th, we have the Flower Cup. You might be shocked that a base game cup ranked last place. But let me just put this out here right now. Even at the worst, these cups, score-wise, didn't do terribly. I mean, for the Flower Cup, I gave it a total score of 137 out of 200, which isn't too bad. Now, here's another detail I didn't mention with the scoring. When I took all the 40 scores out of 40 for each of the courses, I decided to rank, all the courses out in, from out all 96 courses. Yeah, because a lot of scores were tied. There were a lot of ties. But nonetheless, I decided to use that as another measure. I'm also using it for tiebreakers for these cups. Flower Cup, scoring 137 out of 200, and an average rank of 66.5. Some of the scores on these tracks are not very good. I gotta be fair. Mario Circuit, I only gave it 24. I mean, this Mario Circuit doesn't really do anything revolutionary, and it has a few obstacles, so I was able to give it some brownie points. But yeah, it just kind of feels like a 24 out of 40 or 60% kind of course, Toad Harbor and Shy Guy Falls were both pretty decent or very good courses. Both I put at 34 out of 40, so very good courses. So yeah, so far the scores for this cup may not seem all that bad, but what kills it for this cup is Twisted Mansion. Yeah, I gave this track an 11 out of 40, and it may not, from a surface, it may not look like a bad course, but for a haunted mansion, we I expected so much more, and apparently I wasn't alone on that. I feel like a lot of people wish this track was more like the Luigi's Mansion course from Mario Kart DS. This course is just, I gave it a tiny bit of credit for some of these obstacles, but the dark palette, it visually doesn't really look that appealing. I gave it a little credit for these wobbly halls, but I mean, everything else in this course was so bland that even with the layout, it's just there's not many obstacles, and even those few little nice details were very minuscule to even have this score even be halfway good. Like 11 out of 40 is a pretty rough score. That's pretty much bad. Like, this track, one of the worst courses in the game, unfortunately. The cups overall in this game, a lot of them did so damn well that this cup just couldn't stack up. And at number 23, second to last, we have the Egg Cup. Again, another base game cup. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, the thing about the Egg Cup, it's got, out of the average rank, it's got the lowest average rank of these cups at 71.75. However, its overall score of 142 out of 200 got it into second to last, or 23rd. When you look at this course selection, you probably think, well, this cup actually looks pretty cool, huh? I mean, none of the courses in this cup are downright terrible, but the highest score for any of the courses in this cup was 31 out of 40 to Yoshi's Circuit, and it's a circuit course. The fact that 31 out of 40 is the highest that any course in this cup got, not only that, but the fact that it was a circuit course that beat the other three courses in this cup, that's really what drags this cup down overall. Now, the worst course in this cup was Excite Bike Arena, still scored a 21 out of 40. That's a rough score, but it's still much higher than that of Twisted Mansion, even though this course is very bland. It's actually quite a bit more fun than Twisted Mansion, but I mean, look at this course's fucking map layout. The simplicity of this track does drag it down. So, yes, overall, Egg Cup, while definitely not all that great, it managed to avoid last place, so that's something. And at number 22, we have the Shell Cup. And this is where the scores definitely start getting a bit more significant. So this cup scored 151 out of 200, but with an average rank of 62.5. The courses in this cup, again, kind of like with the Egg Cup, aren't, they're a lot of them, they're just kind of there, like they're not bad. I mean, Moo Moo Meadows got pretty good with 36 out of 40. And I even thought the Mario Circuit in this, the version of the GBA Mario Circuit did some unique stuff with kind of the NASCAR kind of theme with all the tires and the part of the course that lifts up in the air with the anti-gravity. It does bring an interesting twist to this kind of course. I mean, the layout is pretty interesting too for a Mario Circuit. Honestly, there isn't really much more potential it could have even struck here. I mean, for a Mario Circuit, like, this is impressive. However, we got to address the elephant in the room with this cup. Much more similarly to the Flower Cup than the Egg Cup, this cup has one course that really drags it down, and that obviously is Toad's Turnpike. Now, to be fair, I didn't score this one as low as Twisted Mansion from the Flower Cup, but I gave this course a 16 out of 40. So yes, worse than Excite Bike Arena. Like, this is a traffic course, but man, is it bland, and they could have done so much more with this course. Like, this was a disappointment. So this cup, certainly, if it had more courses like Moo Moo Meadows or even something like the Mario Circuit that kind of stood out, it certainly could have been a much better cup. But I mean, it is the Shell Cup, and I guess in most Mario Karts, the Shell Cups aren't always that appealing, so who knows? And at number 21, we have the Mushroom Cup, which also scored 151 out of 200. However, slightly edged out the Shell Cup with the average rank of 61.75. So this cup definitely has some varying quality in it, because when you look at it, I mean, yes, I gave this course, Sweet Sweet Canyon, a perfect 40. This has always been one of my favorite courses in the game. And for a candy themed course, they really did knock it out of the park. I mean, like, you have that donut shortcut at the end, you have the syrup, you have all the different things, ice cream cone, aesthetically it's beautiful, but also, the way they integrated these kind of things into the course. It's it's amazing. Simplistic? Maybe a little bit, but for what it does, This course is amazing and really matches the candy-like theme. The thing with Thwomp Ruins, though, is, it's an interesting, cool concept and the way they theme the track around the thwomps, and it does have ruins in it. But I think when you really look at this course, it really has a lot of missed potential, and the layout isn't all that interesting. I mean, sure, you've got the wall there to do boost panel, go faster with the boosts, but there aren't really a bunch of thwomps around. I mean, there's basically these thwomps right here towards the end of the course, but that's it. I mean, if you really wanted to go all out with the thwomp theming, you really needed to put more thwomps and obstacles. Not very interesting layout. Definitely could have used more thwomps. This course overall screams missed potential. For the Mushroom Cup always being the first cup in a Mario Kart game, you don't normally expect it to be very good, but to get 151 out of 200, that's pretty impressive, I'd say. And at number 20, we finally go to a booster course pass cup. Yes, the Lucky Cat Cup, which I gave a score of 152 out of 200, just a point higher from the last few, and with an average rank of 53.25. So yeah, honestly, three of the courses are actually pretty impressive. I mean, obviously, I love Ninja Hideaway. I gave it a perfect 40. A lot of people were disappointed with Sky Garden, but honestly, I think it still does a fine enough job for what it does. However, where this cup really falters, well, do I even need to say? Fucking Tokyo Blur, dude. Man, this course, so much missed potential, but not even just that. I mean, you could have put this track in any setting, it would have practically been the same thing. I mean, literally, you're in Tokyo on this course. Yeah, it's a course in Tokyo, but literally, the thing is with these Mario Kart courses, you gotta incorporate the city into the tracks. And for the most part, the DLC tracks in this game do that. But Tokyo Blur, nothing of the it's all in the background. Tokyo's all in the background. It has nothing to do with the course. I mean, sure, you have some thwomps here, and you do have the pretty interesting in terms of the road layout, but basically that's it. The two things I give this course credit for, the thwomps and the way the road and direction layout is in this course, is relatively solid, but it was only solid enough to give the score an 8 out of 40, which is horrendous. But the fact that the Lucky Cat Cup, yeah, I could have done much better if it didn't have Tokyo Blur. Let's just Tokyo Blur ruined this cup, but yet it didn't ruin it enough to put it at the very bottom of the list. And at number 19, we have the Banana Cup with a score of 155 out of 200 and an average rank of 58.75. I mean, overall, when you have the courses Dry Desert, DK Jungle, and even Royal Raceway wasn't too bad. They were all pretty good. I mean, 37 out of 40 for DK. I mean, and all three of these courses were in the 30s, so they did pretty good. But while not a horrendous bring down like with some of the other cups, you do have one course that kind of sticks a sore thumb. Yes, Donut Plains 3. While a teensy bit more interesting than some other courses we went over that are pretty bad, this one is bad, no doubt. Like, it is very bland and basic, and it doesn't really do much, but, you know, this course has a few more things like those hopping mole pits and the water integration and kind of the twisty. Some of these turns are very sharp. I give this course a little bit more credit. Even if I'm getting credit for these little things, it's so little to to hold up this course as a whole. Like, this course is bland as fuck. So yeah, this cup at number 19. Going back to the DLC now for spot number 18, we have the Golden Dash Cup. Now, this also scored 155 out of 200 but with a slightly better average rank of 55.75. So, I mean, a lot of people know what I'm gonna say about this cup, I'm sure. Some of y'all might think that I'm being too generous on Coconut Mall, but it's still Coconut Mall. Although honestly, I will say if they took away those arrows, I probably would have given, on the escalators, I probably would have given this course a perfect 40. But yeah, I mean, regardless of how you may feel about this version of the course, it, you know, I don't think they really butchered it. And regardless of how you feel about the cars, I like those new ways the Shy Guys drive the cars in like circles and such. Like, regardless of how you feel about it, I think that's really cool. But the thing about it is they didn't add it until Wave 2 and when they had to update the game. So if we were looking at this course on how it was in Wave 1, trust me, I would have not given this a 39. But for how it is now, yeah, this is very, very, very good. As the first, the introductory first, tour city course in this game, Paris Promenade, I liked how they handled this. They used some parts of the city in this course as part of the course itself, unlike Tokyo Blur. I don't think I need to explain myself for Toad Circuit, but giving it a 15 out of 40. I mean, there are a few things. The Toad Balloon, when you actually glide up in the air, you could hit that. There's a few shortcuts. I mean, so it's got a little more than some of the other bad courses, but yeah, this course is still shit. But overall, for the first cup of the DLC, this definitely ain't too bad. At number 17, we have the Bell Cup with a score of 157 out of 200 and an average rank of 52. Now, the thing about this cup, y'all already know Ribbon Road for me, 40 out of 40. Y'all knew it was gonna be that way. No explanation needed. Neo Bowser City, on the other hand, definitely brings this cup down a little bit. Yes, I gave this course a 16 out of 40. There's not really much to this course other than it's maybe a little slippery from the rain and you can fall off, but it's bland as fuck and dreary and no kind of main obstacles or anything, integrated into the course around the Neo Bowser theme, whatever. There's just not much to this course. It's bland, and unfortunately, it definitely brings this cup down. But unfortunately, I mean, while not nearly as bad as Neo Bowser City, Super Bell Subway could have definitely been better. While the theming of racing in a subway is definitely not your everyday kind of theme, it's just, I don't know, it's not as bold or appealing as a lot of the themes, in of the other courses in the game, that are also wacky and innovative and inventive and creative and such. This whole subway one just kind of isn't really all that appealing. And like, what does that have to do with Super Bells? It's called Super Bell Subway, but what the fuck does it have to do with a Super Bell necessarily? Ribbon Road, obviously, perfect 40. Big Blue is really good too, even though I don't think it was, 40 out of 40. I think there was, a little more it could have used, but overall, you know, pretty good cup. I mean, these two courses here, the Neo Bowser City and the Super Bell Subway, didn't really bring this cup as much down as, some of the courses in some of the lower ranked cups. But that being said, 17th spot makes sense for it. And at number 16, we have the Turnip Cup, which also scored 157 out of 200, but had an average rank of 50. New York Minute and Mario Circuit 3 were obviously the two that really dragged this cup down because these two, oh my goodness, they did excellent. I mean, normally Waluigi Pinball is usually, regarded by lots of Mario Kart fans as such a great course. I haven't necessarily agreed with that, although I do like how they made it in this game. They did a good job with it. But Calamari Desert, man, the surprise that I think we all got when we came across this on the second lap and you're going against the train now. Like, man, trust me, if they didn't make these kind of changes to the course, this course, while still good, would definitely have not gotten a 39 out of 40 from me. Trust me. So yeah, Turnip Cup at number 16. Now at number 15, we have the Rock Cup with a score of 158 out of 200 and an average rank of 50.75. A lot of people might disagree with me on this, but I did not find Boo Lake all that appealing. As a simple boardwalk over the water course with not really much in the way of obstacles, like at all, besides falling in the water, and the fact that, like, you could have had, like, I don't know, booze flying around. I think the original version had, like, booze with candles you could have ran into, would have definitely fit the more haunted theme of the course. And, like, I see bonefish swimming around. Why didn't they put the bonefish swimming on the track instead of in the background where you could actually ran into, like, this course? Like, I think they could have done so much more to it, and it actually, like I said, the part about the booze with the candles makes it feel like a downgrade from the original version, which, by the way, I've never played. London Loop could have certainly been a bit more of a better city course, but I mean, it does have some interesting parts to it, like these chain shops here, and I think on the final lap they come loose. So, stuff like that, and the drawbridge here, which is in London. This course, it was able to edge out a 30 from me. But Rock Mountain and, well, of course, Maple Treeway, those both did really well. Yeah, so overall, Rock Cup, pretty good overall. I mean, yeah, Boo Lake was definitely a disappointment, but, overall, pretty decent. And at number 14, we have the Crossing Cup. Now, let's get this out of the way now. Please do not be angry with me, but by far the worst track in the entire game, Baby Park. I'm sorry. I don't know what the fuck you want from me. I mean, I gave it a 5 out of 40 because, I mean, it's not as bad as the version in Mario Kart DS, which, if I were to score that, would have easily been a 0. I mean, the fact that it's not as bad as that, and it has a little less, a little bit narrower space. Like in the DS version, you had so much wide fucking space at Baby Park. At this one, it's a little more narrow, but the layout itself, everything within the track, the items don't carry it at all. I don't care what you say. Yes, it may be hectic to play, but I don't fucking care. This course still fucking sucks. Like I said, the only category I gave any credit to, where the only 5 points this course earned from me, comes in the fact that there wasn't really anything they could butcher unless they made it as bad as the version in DS. The fact that it wasn't the version in DS was what really gave it any sort of points. I mean, despite being the worst course in the entire game, this cup as a whole is not even really towards the bottom. I mean, because Cheeseland, Wild Woods, and Animal Crossing are all so impressive. I mean, really, like, this could have easily been one of, if not the best cup in the game. But Baby Park just had to tarnish that for it, didn't it? But still, overall, the Crossing Cup is a joy to play, outside of Baby Park, of course. At number 13, we have the Triforce Cup with a score of 161 out of 200 and an average rank of 56.5. They really did a good job on Hyrule Circuit being the Zelda themed course. Now, Ice Ice Outpost, While the two pathings in this course are cool, the twin paths throughout the course, for a course themed around ice, you would expect a bit more. Although they did have a few icebergs you could jump on, but maybe two or three of them. So doesn't really make the course themed around ice when you only have that many of them. So pretty disappointing. I mean, there weren't even like little obstacles on the course like penguins waddling around or anything like that. The Rainbow Road here, that SNES Rainbow Road isn't too shabby either. Overall, pretty good cup. Not anything, that's gonna blow your socks off. Although some of you might really love the Hyrule Circuit. But yeah, I mean, nothing really terrible on this cup, so yeah, pretty good. And at number 12, we have the Special Cup with a score of 163 out of 200 and an average rank of 56.5. Honestly, there isn't really much noteworthy to say about this cup. I mean, for the most part, I think they did a pretty good job on most things. Cloud Top Cruise was pretty damn impressive. People are pretty harsh on Bone Dry Dunes, but I actually think it's pretty interesting, of course, the way they utilize like some of the bones and such and how it's bone dry. Like, they actually did good with I think it's a unique kind of desert course. Although it definitely could have used some more stuff on it, don't get me wrong. But I don't think it's like bad like a lot of people think. I will say though, this game's version of Bowser's Castle though is rather underwhelming, as you can see by the score I gave it. But anyway, overall, nothing bad, pretty good. Maybe underwhelming for what you'd think the special cup should be, but I mean, the Rainbow Road, while a lot of people don't like it as much as other Rainbow Roads, still was pretty good. I mean, the space station theming around it is pretty cool. And at number 11, we go back to the DLC to the Cherry Cup, which also scored 163 out of 200, but with an average rank of 53.25. Now, they did an excellent job with the city courses in this wave. I mean, Los Angeles Laps, I gave a 39 out of 40. Regardless of how you feel about this course, I mean, I love how they put the sidesteppers, crabs right on the beach, and the different it really does fit the LA. These surfboards and piers definitely fit LA. The sailboats out there, but I love those sidestepper additions. Those crabs. You fly over the baseball stadium, which is pretty cool. Regardless of how you feel about the oil field area, I think it's really cool how they integrate this, how they use them as like obstacles and such, and you can like fly over them here if you go this way with the glider. But obviously, Sunset Wilds and Koopa Cape are what really brought this cup down, even though not by too much, because it's still in the top half of the list. And you may be wondering why Koopa Cape got 25 out of 40. I mean, this version of Koopa Cape is so simplified. I mean, sure, you still have the flowing river and the trees around and such, and the shell kind of thingies. But going into the underwater, I mean, why did they ever get rid of the electrical kind of the turbines that would shock you and shrink you? Like, that, to me, that was a huge part of what made the Wii version of this course so cool. I mean, the underwater section here is what really drags this version down for me. But I also feel like even on the surface level, they could have maybe done a bit better. But overall, pretty good cup though, especially with the city courses. Now, starting out the top 10, at 10th, we have the Acorn Cup with a score of 169 out of 200, an average rank of 48.5. Overall, the courses as a whole, while not really some of the best courses, they're still very, very well made and, fun enough and, well crafted enough to be in the upper 30s for the most part. And at number 9, we have the Leaf Cup with a score of 174 out of 200 and an average rank of 42. Now, the thing with this cup, you might be thinking, how the heck does the Leaf Cup score this high? Well, I mean, they really did great with Wario Stadium, and I mean, look at Music Park. I mean, the way they designed this, and like those music notes being obstacles and stuff like that. I mean, like, this is definitely one of the top tier tracks. Yoshi Valley, kind of like with Koopa Cape and Daisy Circuit from the last cups we talked about, isn't, horrible. 25 isn't really that bad of a score, but it brings this cup down a little bit. I mean, the winding paths and such are definitely cool, and they do have a big Yoshi egg as an obstacle, but they definitely could have done a lot more to make this course, like really interesting and really pop out and really match the Yoshi theme outside of the giant egg that can really, squish you towards the end. But I mean, take a look at that fucking mini map, dude. But overall, really good for the Leaf Cup. And at number 8, we have the last cup of the DLC, the Spiny Cup, with a score of 177 out of 200 and an average rank of 37. Now, they really did good job with this cup. I mean, Madrid Drive, such a nice city course. I mean, look at this sleeping wiggler here in the plaza in Madrid. Like, about Madrid Drive, like, this city course is so cool. And there's also a soccer stadium later on the final lap. But also the piranha plants. There's like a painting museum where they come out. Like, look at this. Look at how they integrated the course. Like, so cool. They really went out with a bang for this last cup. However, this cup probably would have taken one of the top spots if it weren't for Bowser Castle 3. Now, while not a bad course, and I like the different like little corridors you can go through, it's just not a not much in the way of obstacles besides those big thwomps towards the end. I like the fireballs that kind of come out, but they don't really they're not easy to hit you. Like it's easy to avoid them. Like I think as a whole, this course is just kind of for a Bowser Castle. I don't know. It's kind of bland to me. It was an SNES course, so maybe that's why. I mean, they definitely made it more interesting than I'm sure that variant was, but nonetheless, I mean, the bone piranha plants are cute too, but it just didn't stand out that much to me, so that's why I did give this course a 26 out of 40, but that's still not bad. Nonetheless, they did go out with a bang on their last cup. And at number 7, we have the Lightning Cup with a score of 179 out of 200 and an average rank of 39. There's not really too much to say about this cup, as all the courses in this cup were pretty consistent in terms of the score. Nothing outstanding, but nothing bad or even like less than good. Like all the courses in this cup were good. While the original N64 Rainbow Road was mediocre, they put those rolling chain shot balls, and those chain shot balls make the course wavy, and throughout the whole course it's pretty wavy, and it's not a tedious, long, can't fall off kind of thing. You can fall off this course. It might sound crazy, the fact that the original N64 version was a Rainbow Road you couldn't fall off. Now, I never played Mario Kart 64, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was like. So they really made an enhanced version here. Even TikTok Clock, which was rather basic in the DS version, really got more interesting in this game. And even still, this was my lowest rated course of this cup. And even this was still very good. Goes to show the quality of these cups are really going up, if you know what I mean. The quality of the cups going up. Get it? And you can glide over these gears now, and the gear, I don't know, there's just a lot more interesting facets about, and the hands you can, jump over, do tricks over, They really enhanced this. Yeah, original version was very underwhelming, I think. So overall, really good job with the Lightning Cup. It's number 7 on the list. And for number 6, we go back to the DLC and we go to the Moon Cup. Now, this was certainly an interesting one. So, first off, score of 180 out of 200. So now we're at like 90% or above. Like, really good. But, oh my goodness, Merry Mountain, even though it's a nice Christmas themed course and I really liked it at first, there's so much missed potential, I think, with this course. But nothing bad enough to make it like a not good course. Like, I still gave it a 28 out of 40, which isn't bad. They certainly could have done a bit more with this course, but nothing horrible or anything. Maybe add a few more obstacles. Like, I mean, the thing is, maybe if you made like these candy canes fall down on you or something, just an idea. I do like how you can come up towards these candles and Christmas presents as kind of, oh, apparently you can even fall. Get, and then you can go buy those candy canes too, maybe. I don't know. I mean, but this area right here, they needed to add more to. Like, look at how open and nothing there is to that part. I really liked Berlin Byways too. The only thing that I kind of marked this course down slightly for was the directions are very confusing, but they're confusing in a way where it's hard to, when you're going so fast, it's hard to really learn them, it still would continue to sometimes be confusing even after several times of playing this course. But I love how they incorporated the sights of Berlin into the course and the thwomps and right by the wall, which is also interesting theming how the womps, not thwomps, the womps, they fall just like the Berlin Wall fell. If you know your German history, they have the U-Bahn trains here and stuff like that. Like, they really did great with this course. They just could have maybe had the layout be a little more, you know, gave us a little more space. Obviously, they did really good with Peach Gardens, but we all know what the surprise about this course was, and also one of the reasons. I mean, it's still well designed on its own, but and how the piranha plants here chomp you as well. I love that too, but one of the reasons that I gave this course such a high score obviously has to do with the final lap. They make you go in reverse on the final lap, and you can hit the topiaries, fly over through the topiary. Look at that peach topiary. Like, you go gliding over the topiary garden. Like, that's awesome. And I love this little bend here too towards the end of the course. Yeah, Moon Cup, really solid. Now, starting out the top 5, we have the Feather Cup with a score of 189 out of 200 and an average rank of 24.25. So yeah, we got some really good courses. The two that stand out to me in this cup are none other than Athens Dash and Squeaky Clean Sprint. Squeaky Clean Sprint was obviously a 40 out of 40. I mean, it's a bathroom themed track, but it's not just that. I mean, the way they designed it, and like those like scissors and toothpaste things in those cups you just saw in the overview, you can glide over those. See, I wasn't joking. You can literally glide over them and possibly hit them. And then there's other alternate paths going through all the weaving kind of bathroom supplies and products and such. Like, this, look at the toothbrushes there. Like, this course is amazing. Look at the wedding ring too. Like, again, every few seconds you notice any little detail. Look at the towels, the soap stains, like toilet. There's so many things around here. Look at the light bulb and the bandage packet. Like, again, this course is incredible. And while I also, spoiler alert for one of the future cups, I did give the new Yoshi's Island course a 40 as well. I personally, I think this one is better. I think this course was definitely the better of those two, between those two. Like, this course is incredible. But even Athens Dash was really impressive. There's a lot of ancient kind of stuff with Athens, Greece being kind of an old ancient country. The Parthenon and the, Acropolis, kind of the columns all over the course, the way you drive through it, like, makes for interesting hazards, and you go over the rooftops of the old buildings and columns, and the way they use the theming of Athens into the course. Again, that's what some past city courses didn't really utilize the theming, or their city theming into the courses themselves. Tokyo Blur. But courses like Athens Dash do, and I love it. I wish they could have maybe did a bit more on Daisy Cruiser, but even that was still a really good course. Yet that was the lowest course, or lowest rated course in this cup. So it goes to show how awesome these cups are getting, like how high quality these cups are getting now as a whole. And at number 4, we have the Fruit Cup. Fruit Cup. With a score of 190 out of 200, just edging out the Feather Cup by a whole point. But this cup also having an average rank of 25. Now, we just briefly mentioned Yoshi's Island when talking about Squeaky Clean Springs. I mean, that's what I think everyone's gonna recognize this cup from, is from the Yoshi's Island track. I mean, how could you not love what they did with the Yoshi's Island track? You saw those, like, chicken enemies from the Yoshi's Island game. They can run through the course obstacles, and you can fly through that winged question mark cloud, too. Which, just like in the Yoshi's Island game, opens up a red pathway for you to drive over, which can operate as like a shortcut on this course. Admittedly, though, it is hard to hit that cloud, though, but if you're able to do it, yes, it opens up a red path as shown right there above us. Look at the Shy Guys are on stilts too, alongside those chicken enemies. And they even have sidesteppers. Like, again, they did a great job with this course. But also, looking at the rest of the cup, Amsterdam Drift was another city course that wowed me. Gliding over the train and over through the windmills, hopping over the dirt mounds from the Monty Moles, going through the canals, jumping on the boats, driving through the field of tulips with piranha plants that can blend in with the tulips. Such a joy of a course. The Patuis on Riverside Park are really cute too, and how they blow items above them, which if you run into the Patuis can drop the items onto the course. Such neat course design. With courses like these, like, you can tell why these cups, without having any subpar courses or anything like that in them, all great courses, why they're get ranked so high on the list. And at number 3, we have the Boomerang Cup, which also has a score of 190 out of 200, but has an average rank of 22.25. Oh, where to even begin with Waluigi Stadium? Perfect 40 out of 40 for this one, obviously. But I was really surprised by Bangkok and Singapore. Like, man, these have been such great city courses. Even the DS Mario circuit has these spitting piranha plants in a wooded area that has a wiggler that wakes up on the last lap. You gotta be careful to dodge the spitting piranha plants. So now that that's number 3, we only have 2 to go. At number 2, we have the Star Cup, which also scored 100. I know, 3 of these cups all scored 190 out of 200, but this one had an average rank of 21. So now, with the Star Cup, clearly this is the best of the base game cups, and all these maps are of high quality, with Dolphin Shoals and Mount Wario having perfect scores. I mean, do I even need to tell you why? That eel in Dolphin Shoals you can actually drive on. And also, Not that it really matters here, but we start underwater. I don't know how many courses out there have you start the race underwater. Sunshine Airport really does feel like you're driving through the runways of an airport in this course. Like, they did an excellent job with the utilization of the theming. Look at these piranha plants jamming out on Electrodrome. Such high quality stuff here. But now, which cup gets number one? And at number one, we have the Propeller Cup with a score of 192 out of 200 at an average rank of 17.25. Talk about a banger of a cup, y'all. The deliciousness and thrilling course design there on Sky High Sunday, the waddling penguins on Snowland. I mean, for a rather relatively simplistic track, look at how adorable the penguins are and how they can affect the track and stuff. Like for a basic track, I mean, for a track in general, even if it's simplistic, this is amazing. The coolness and layout of Sydney Sprint, how cool Sydney, Australia, the way they, of course, like most other city courses, integrate it into the track itself. But also, we gotta mention that banger music. And while I'm definitely not the hugest fan of Mushroom Gorge, I still think they did a good job with the course and didn't do any kind of disservice to it from its Wii version. Although it was a bit clunky at first when I first played the course, but that being, like maybe I just wasn't used to the changes of it at the time. But yeah, bouncy, nice, fun course, even though you can easily fall off, it's still fun. So now that y'all found out that the Propeller Cup, based on my opinions of the courses, is the number one cup, the number one Grand Prix cup in the game. Now, looking at all this, let's look at a few more things that I mentioned we would talk about at the beginning of the video. So, the DLC. How do the waves themselves rank? Because if you recall, Waves 1 had the Golden Dash and Lucky Cat Cup. Waves 2 had the Turnip and Propeller Cup. Waves 3 had the Rock and Moon Cup. Waves 4 had the Fruit and Boomerang Cups. Wave 5 had the Feather and Cherry Cups. And Wave 6 had the Acorn and Spiny Cups. So now, looking at all of that, the ranking of the waves are as follows. Sixth place, or last place in this case, is Wave 1, which probably isn't a shocker to most people. Golden Dash and Lucky Cat were Wave 1, and as a whole, Wave 1 scored 307 out of 400, which is still pretty good. So even at its worst, the DLC was pretty good. Anyway, in fifth place, we have Wave 3, which encompassed the Rock and Moon Cups. So Wave 3 scored 338 out of 400. And now in fourth place was the last wave, Wave 6, which was the Acorn and Spiny Cups. Wave 6 scored 346 out of 400. And now, third place was Wave 2, which had the Turnip and Propeller Cups. I mean, with the Propeller Cup being the best cup in the game, there's no doubt this wave as a whole had to be a bit higher than most people would have probably thought. originally without considering my own list here. Wave 2 scored 349 out of 400. So now the top two, Waves 4 and Waves 5. Which one will come on top? Well, in second place, or number 2, is Wave 5 with a score of 352 out of 400. While the Cherry Cup was still pretty good, I think it did probably bring this wave down as a whole compared to number 1 being Wave 4. Just because Wave 4, if you look back at the cup ranking, the Fruit and Boomerang Cups were both in the top 4. Yeah, so flawless wave. Wave 4 had a score of 380 out of 400, which would be basically equivalent to 95%. So yeah, Wave 4 was easily the best wave of the DLC. So now, the question at hand. How is the overall track quality in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? Now, I'm not doing this for other Mario Kart games to try to find out, oh, which Mario Kart is the best track selection overall. But anyway, the question at hand. How good is the track selection in this game as a whole? Score of 3,992 out of a maximum 4,800, equaling to 83.16%. 83%. That is still really good. Like if you're scoring the tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, yeah, 83%. Which definitely means that for the most part you have some very high quality courses. But you have a few that obviously bring it down from what maybe could have been. When I was scoring these tracks, I wasn't necessarily scoring them based on, you know, which ones were better than others, like other people might do. I told you what I scored these courses, what I used as criteria, and I basically scored them out of what I feel great Mario Kart tracks should be. In my personal opinion. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of you that have disagreed with some of my answers to these questions and how I feel about the courses, but this is yeah, pretty much a big review of the game, I guess, not just ranking the cups. And just also to put another perspective, how many of the tracks out of the 96 courses got a perfect 40 out of 40? 13. 13 of the 96 courses got a 40 out of 40 from me, which for 13 of them to get a perfect score, I wasn't really being all that lenient when scoring these, mind you, so that's really impressive. Anyway, this has been a major project I've had to do a lot of math for, and it's definitely a different video from what the videos on my YouTube would be, but I want to do more ranking videos in the future, but I'm not sure if they'll be as complex as this one. Thank you all for tuning in to this ranking video. Let me know if you want to see me do more ranking videos. This is Trevor Davies, the Awesomeness, going out.